They will teach you.
You said you were ready.
You're lying.
All right. Workshop meeting, Wednesday, January 29th. It is 6:04. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Here.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem absent. Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
Here.
Vice Mayor Morissette?
Here.
Mayor Mohammed absent. You have a quorum.
Right, deletions or withdrawals to the agenda. And I propose that we take 11.3 to 11.8 and put that on a later agenda. It is posted by Mayor Mohammed. Any other changes?
Hold on. Which one?
11.3 to 11.8. Yours is still on 11.1. And 11.2 is on me. Are you okay with that?
Are you not removing all of her items? Or just 11.3 or 11.8? You said 11.3, 11.8. Are you going to remove 11.4, 11.5?
Through
And
11.
inclusive. Okay.
Yeah, it's all of them. I pulled the whole,
I didn't hear that.
sorry. My fault. All right. We have some presentations today. And it's one blood, gentlemen. Okay.
Well, thanks for the commission to receive us again this year. You know that we are very proud to have blood from our Canadian to you in your village or park. Sorry. I am here today with my friend Claude Girard. We have been out of before by the pandemic. We have been out, but last year in 2024, we had lots of people that was asking to give blood like we did before. And we start, and we have 104 people that came to the blood drive. We are not at the same level than we were before, but actually it's coming, to, I think this year we'll be back with maybe 150 around that. It's a pleasure for all the people in our park to participate to this event, with the town, because from you, we like that you will host us for have flyers, that usually you can give around, and also we had this year it will be a special event to Madame Irene Seguin that start this blood drive. She was in charge by 25 years, but today is 30. This year is 35. That's mean that we had also Monsieur Paul Theroux. He was for 10 years, but Paul quit. He died last summer, and now it's I am with Claude and a certain number of people to say, well, we are back again. We will appreciate that working together, and then the blood drive will be February 22nd, and like every year, you are invited to come. Our representative from the town would like to have us, to be with us. Last year, just I remember something for last year. By the time we were donate bloods, we had a special request by one blood organization. They were need 7 donor of plaquette, and by the time we just choose between the guys, and already 2 hours after the blood was all to the hospital of Joe DiMaggio. And that's mean that that's something that we are very proud of, and we like that the town be with us, on this organization.
Well, it's a noble cause and it's a very necessary one. Town manager, besides from the flies, the brochures, can we host them here?
Sure.
We can host you. Do you coming in with a bus? Or are you doing it?
No, everything is over there.
Where do you want to keep it? Or do this?
It will be in Park Lake.
Okay, in Park Lake.
Yeah, in Park Lake, yeah. Yes, when we have the flyers, Claude, Claude will come to give you a little information. If you can have that on your flyers, on your review of each week there.
Delighted.
Yeah.
It's a great program.
Yeah, it's a great cause. Do you have a sample of the flyer, sir?
No, well, we are in preparation. They will have, I think they will be there at the beginning of the week.
All right, thank you so
next
much.
week.
And put
Would you,
your name for the record, I'm sorry.
Oh, Conrad Bernier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So my name is Cloud. I was a firefighter in Montreal. So here's the goal of our presence here is to invite you, if you are interested, to come at an hour blood drive and see what's going on. We're glad to be here, and it's not my fault. I'm born Canadian, so now I appreciate. I am on the board of Hollywood Pickleball Friend and involved with the blood drive here. And thank you for your cooperation. I wish, if it's possible, for one of you to come and see us. That will be really appreciated.
I have.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Have a great one.
Thank you so much, sir. All right. Reports for the committees and town staff. 6.1, Police Department. That will be Chief Daniel Decoursey. Decoursey?
Good evening, Vice Mayor, and thank you, Commissioners, for having me here tonight. Calls for service for the month from the end of December 30th through January 27th. Our officers handled 1,164 calls for service. Breakdown of those calls were 57 crashes, 31 alarms, 6 burglaries, 128 general incidents involving vandalisms and parking complaints and so on, as well as 636 police calls for service. And again, these are citizen contacts, anytime what we call a service call where somebody comes out, no real law enforcement actions taken, but they're meeting with the public and addressing issues that could possibly be occurring. I have done 30 traffic stops and with a total of 7 arrests with felonies and misdemeanors. Fibers reports, which is what we're required to report to the state of Florida, we had 95 of those, as well as crash reports. So it's a very active month with the limited personnel that we currently have as we continue to work on that. Community trends, we've seen a rise in e-bike thefts regarding our mobile home communities, and so as such, we've continued to address those with directed patrols. Our officers are hanging in the areas. Tomorrow we'll be putting a decoy car back out over in that area to assist with some of that as well. We distributed crime prevention flyers to those locations, mobile home parks and stuff, to make our citizens aware to lock their e-bikes as well, and we posted those on social media platforms as well. Deputy Chief Ochoa has met with a vendor to aid with the process of creating an online property registration program to put stickers on these e-bikes, so when officers see an e-bike going through the town in the middle of the night or whatever, they stop them, that serial number and everything will be registered with us as along with the tag, and we'll be able to identify who the owners are and determine, obviously, if the person's not riding the bicycle, that the e-bike rather, that they're not the registered owner of it. The license plate leader is still in the town here. That'll be probably picked up within the next week or two. We're almost finished with that, and we'll have our study together. To date, we have not obtained any real information from the license plate reader at this time. However, it was not connected to the real-time crime center to determine if, in fact, it would have impact on crimes in other areas that were passing through our town. Training and policies, myself and Deputy Chief Anchoa, along with our administrative assistant, attended FDLE's fiber training. This training is required for law enforcement agencies. Everybody has to enter it in, and there's some new parameters that we have to utilize in order to capture what they want. But FDLE feels that once we get this information in there, these reports will help us with our crime trends throughout the town, and we're able to handle that. We continue to turn out training bulletins, departmental policies. To date, we've actually, Deputy Chief Ochoa and myself, we've issued 65 policies through Power DMS addressing various issues with employees and so on. Our accreditation manager has been phenomenal. He's helping us with this process, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we'll be able to re-engage the Florida PAC regarding the accreditation and move that forward and start the clock and turn the switch on. And that's at the point we start building our files and showing that we are actually doing what we say we're going to do within our policies. So I'm excited about that. The updated policies are on-the-job injuries reporting, code of ethics, sexual offender, and sexual predator community notifications are just a few. Staffing, we have a part-time officer that joined us, Officer Jose Sanchez. He came to us from the Miramar Police Department. He retired there as an assistant chief and stayed on as a reserve officer with them. We were able to obtain him. He's got a vast amount of experience in investigations. He's currently helping our officers, our Detective Casas, as well as our backgrounds and stuff, and processing our applicants through the background process. So he's been invaluable for us. We're currently processing 2 police officer candidates, and we recently hired 2, and they're both doing excellent through their FTO programs. We currently have 1 pending internal affairs investigations, and we should be closing that out within the next week or 2 max. Again, everybody knows we've met with the union. We continue to have our negotiations. I think the town manager will probably brief you on that, but everything seems to be going very well with that. Other than that, I have nothing else. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I really appreciate your initiative on the e-bike registration. I think that's a way to go to make your job easier, but also make people feel safer, you know.
Sure. And
it's very professional, thank you.
And it's just one more step in the process. When we do see these things around town or whatever, we have that ability to address it if in fact it is a stolen e-bike.
You'll see me in the line. I'll be there on mine.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. 6.2, Finance Director James Davermann, please. Good evening.
Good evening, Commission members. James Davermann, Budget and Finance Director, Town of Pembroke Park. For our finance update this month, pleased to announce that we've made a new hire for our office. We've hired a senior accounting manager, Ms. Lizette Rodriguez. She brings 15 years of accounting and audit experience to the town. She'll principally be overseeing payables and will be helping out with the audit and special projects as needed, but we're very happy to have her on board. She starts on February 3rd, so next week. Second announcement is that we had a very successful RFP process for the audit. We received 4 bids. The audit committee will convene on February 5th to review them, and so we're proceeding according to schedule there. And I'd also like to provide a very brief budget update for the general fund. We'll start with the revenue side. Year to date, we were anticipating about $6 million in revenues to this point. These numbers are current as of January 24th, so as of last week. Currently have $9 million in dry powder in revenue that we've received up to this point. So we're trending ahead of schedule by about $3 million with roughly 8 or 9 months to go. And on the expense side, we were budgeted to have spent $5.9 million through the end of January, and we spent $3.6 million. So we're currently at a surplus of $2.3 million. while we're continuing to handle the town's affairs, so the town is in a very strong financial position, as was the case last month and the month prior, and we hope to keep that going. I'll provide further updates for some of the other departments, but you'll see if you look at the list of departments within the general fund, none are seeing any sort of negative variances. So we are on budget across the entire town, across every department. So that's very good news. I'll provide an update in the future on building, sewer, and stormwater. We anticipate that they're behind budget as well, but we anticipate that we'll start to have some more significant outlays once they ramp up their projects. So that's currently what we're waiting on. Aside from that, I have nothing else to update you on today. Are there any questions?
Oh, music for our ears. Let me ask, it was the 5th that we have the audit meeting, right?
That's correct.
Still 3 p.m.?
On the 5th at 3 p.m., correct.
I'll be there. Thank you so much.
And I've confirmed attendance from the other budget directors as well.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
6.3, Public Service Department, Stanley Merantus. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Vice Mayor and Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here. My department has successfully accomplished many things this month, but just to mention a few on this list here, I won't go through the whole thing. We look forward to relocating the horse pit at the Linear Park. We're hoping to do that by mid-February. As far as for the Southwest 25th Street Stormwater Improvement Project, we're hoping to receive proposals by February the 27th, and hopefully quite a bit of them come in, so we can go ahead and get that going. And last but not least, we're looking forward to pressure washing all of the town sidewalks and curb and gutters throughout the town. So do look forward to that. And that's all I have. If you guys have no questions for me.
Gentlemen, just remind me, we have all the permits in-house for these drainage programs, right? We're not waiting for any more permits.
For the drainage, yes, we do have permits from the county and other. Yes, we do have permits from the county. Everything is already obtained. Right now, what we're doing for the Southwest 25th Street, we do have that on the street for RFP. Once we receive those proposals on the 27th, we do look forward to proceeding with construction.
Music. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
6.4, Building Department, Building Manager Jeffrey Lewis. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Jeffrey Lewis, Building and Facilities Manager for Pembroke Park. For this evening, the Building Monthly Report, we processed 49 permit applications for additions, renovations. We've completed 101 total plan reviews and completed 407 inspections throughout all the trades. The numbers that we issued for this month of permits is 27. In the meantime, there hasn't been any other major projects besides Magnolia. We just issued their final certificate of occupancy for Building 1. So all the buildings there have been issued their certificate of occupancy and been sold. Right now, staff and all the divisions are working on cleaning up the major projects, and we're preparing all of our data for the new permitting system that's coming in place. For code compliance, for the month of January, they have 12 notice of violations, 12 formal hearings, and also 12 affidavit of compliance for the month. They had the special magistrate hearing on January 15th, in which they had 11 final orders, 2 abatement orders, and also 3 amended final orders as well. And that's all that I have for the report. Is there any questions or concerns?
No questions? Well, thank you so much, Jeffrey.
You're welcome. Have a great night.
You too, thank you. Resolution 7.1, Town Attorney, would you do me the honor?
Sure, just for the record, 7.1 is a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, approving the PS Pembroke Plat lying on the southeast corner of Pembroke Road and Southwest 31st Avenue. Provides for an effective date, and you have your planning consultant, Mr. Von Muhlen, here to present.
Yes, good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Mike Von Muhlen with Keith, your consultant town planner. Tonight, request 7.1 is a plat approval for the public storage over on Pembroke Road. I have a brief presentation. As you may have already know, the site plan and the parking reduction were approved at your last commission meeting. This plat was just lagging a little bit behind because it has additional county reviews and FDOT reviews prior to coming to the town commission, so. Oops, this is the wrong one. Can we get the other PowerPoint? Sorry.
She plays tricks on me too.
Perfect. All right, so this is the location currently. There are, I believe, five existing buildings, all single story. The older style warehouses, those will all be demolished. You have the acreage here, which is 2.44. You can see the location where it's essentially bounded on three sides by right-of-way. One's a railway, the other is Pembroke Road, which is a FDOT jurisdiction, and then 35th or 31st. Sorry. Can't count today. Anyway, so this is just the graphic page of the plat. It's just a boundary plat. It will do show you where the new property lines are. There is a dedication. You can see the triangle there up in the upper left. That is going to be dedicated to FDOT. It's mainly for site visibility. So they take that, and also it will be the location of any traffic equipment, whether it's the signal pole or any of that type of equipment. That is one of their common requests that they ask for now. There is actually a non-vehicular access line, meaning they prohibit the crossing of vehicles across the property line. It's actually on all four sides, but there are two openings on northwest or southwest 31st. There's a plat note restriction, which is the size of the new self-storage facility, and we just talked about the non-vehicular access line. The Planning and Zoning Board and your consultant planner both recommend approval of this plat. The cover page needs to be signed by the owners before it's presented to the town for all of the signatures. I believe it'll be the town engineer and the mayor, possibly the town clerk. And we have confirmation already that all of the staff conditions from Broward County have been accepted. And that concludes that presentation. The applicant is here if you have any additional questions.
No, refresh my memory. That's where we have septic tanks over there, right?
It's a whole septic area.
Yeah, okay. Well, that will be taken care of in due time. The corner there, is that for heavy trucks? Sorry?
I said storage units don't use toilets, but they do have a facility for restrooms.
That is correct. Brett Goldstein with Bohler Engineering. Yeah, they'll have a bathroom on site, but it's not high demand, like Jeffrey was mentioning over here.
Well, it depends on what they had for lunch.
Fair point.
No, it's just I assumed all facilities would have some sort of a bathroom, but well, it's in the planning phase somewhere. All right. Anybody else have a question?
No, I don't have any.
What?
It's going to be a great addition.
Well, thank you very much.
Make it look good.
Thank you. Yep, we will. Thank you for your time.
Otherwise, I'll send Jacobs after you.
Know where you work?
We can always find you.
If I may, Mr. Vice Mayor, just for the record, item 7.2, it's a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, approving the parking reduction application number 24PR03, attached as Exhibit A, submitted by Pembroke K2 LLC, MHP Broward 1 Limited, a Florida limited liability company for certain real property located in Hollywood Ridge Farms, 2-16, miscellaneous Lot 1, less point thereof as described in instrument number 1184602882, and less per or official record 30615/1187, providing for conditions of approval, recording of parking reduction order in the public records of Broward County, providing for severability, conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you.
Again, for the record, Mike Vondermeulen with Keith. So this is the parking reduction application for the Ecos Pembroke Park project. This is being proposed by the McDowell Housing Partners. We'll go ahead and go through the presentation here.
Can I just ask a quick question? How many units?
I believe that it's
How much? 150 units? You're anticipating people have 1.5 cars per unit?
less than, well, the study, there's additional studies in the back. So they're proposing a total of 168 parking spaces. There is some ground floor commercial space, which has additional parking that is not being.
That's not included in the residential.
Correct, which is not.
I'm going to reduce down from 305 to 168.
That's correct.
And then the commercial on top of that.
No, I think it's 163, and there's 5 spaces that are required for the commercial space.
5 for the commercial?
And so there's no reduction in the commercial space.
Just the residential?
Just the residential.
Okay, I read the whole thing. I was just curious what you were doing on number-wise. So you're looking at one vehicle per unit. How big are the units?
They're all one-bedroom apartments.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yep. So this is the location, County Line and 56th. This is the information on the site. It's a 1.6 acre site. It's currently vacant. It is Zone B1, and the land use is commercial. So the request is a reduction from 305 to 168. The proposed project, again, is 150 housing units. They're all one bedroom. Again, this is a senior. It's age restricted as well as restricted for affordable housing. The site plan falls under the Live Local Act.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you that the lot is not vacant. There are 7 residents on the lot. They're the burrowing owls.
They'll
They're protected too, so you guys are going to have to relocate them and go through that process.
Is that for real, the burrowing owls?
Yeah, there are burrowing owls out there. I mow the
you're in-
property once a month, so you have to go around the owls. They are protected, but they're really cool to watch them hunt. They sit up on the fence line at night. It's kind of cool, or in the early morning.
Yeah, when I was a maintenance director, we had them in a brand new facility, and they were just like, we had already opened, and then they showed up, and they're like, don't tell anybody.
They're protected, so you got to go through the process to relocate them.
Yes.
They're the cutest little things. I have a little worry about overflow of parking when you make a project like this. Will there be anything in the lease contract that people are limited to that one car parking, or what's going to happen? Because
We'll go ahead and, if I could finish my presentation, we have the applicant here as well as the town's traffic engineer to answer any questions you may have about the way they did the analysis. So I'll go over a brief presentation of what you're going to see here, and then we can go ahead and open it up with the rest of the applicant as well as the other consultants. So this is a bird's eye view of the site, showing the location of the residential tower, and then there's essentially a three-story parking garage located that's separated. This is another rendering from 56th, and another rendering from County Line Road. So the code requires 2 per unit, and that is essentially a blanket requirement for almost all residential units in the town. There are no special provisions for any specialty type residentials. We just have that regular straight rate for whether it's a studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. So the total requirement for this site would be the 305. Again, the 5 commercial spaces that are not being reduced, and then the 300 spaces that are being reduced down to a total of 168. So it's a reduction of 137 spaces. This is the criteria within the city or within the town code, and the applicant has provided the study, both comparisons of other cities as well as the Institute of Transportation Engineers. They are what we call ITE, their analysis as well. And what they do is they'll take the worst case scenario of all of that analysis, and then they even add additional spaces. So as you can see, ITE recognized between 150 to 152 spaces, but they're going to increase 168.
Is that because somebody might even have a visitor?
Visitor or guest? Yeah, it's
It sounded like nobody was going to be able. Oh, you can't come. You can't park here.
Right. And we were concerned. We wanted to make sure that both our traffic engineers as well as the applicants were familiar and recognize that there's no other place to park around here. So, it's not cutting the real thin line. It's giving themselves a reduction, but still, having sufficient or adequate spaces, a couple left over, a couple for in case of emergencies, things like that. Our traffic engineer, Sarab, is here. He's with Via Planning. They did the review. He is here as well to answer any questions you may have. And then the recommendation, this went to the Planning and Zoning Board. They had recommended approval, and these were the conditions for the recommendation of approval. It's contingent and tied to the site plan application dated September 13th. And then there'll need to be a recordable covenant, restrictive covenant addressing the parking. There's also going to be additional restrictive covenants on the age restriction. There's additional restrictive covenants on the affordable housing. Those are the affordable housing and the age restrictions are handled by Broward County through their affordable housing. Will require that they obtain a certificate from Broward County prior to obtaining the building permit. And that concludes the presentation. And again, I said the applicant is here. I think they also have a presentation, and then your town's traffic consultant is also here.
I got one more question for you. How many electric charging stations are they putting in this structure?
That's a good question. I don't know if they.
Can you come forward and introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Scarlett Perez with McDowell Housing Partners. This is Eduardo Duran as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Scarlett Perez with McDowell,
okay.
And then Eduardo Duran. We currently have provisions for electric parking. That's what our design is, but unless it's currently mandated by the state or Broward County code, we're not currently providing them.
Okay, well, I don't want to see any more parking put in this town without electric parking, with electric charging stations. See, we had Wawa that was supposed to put 10 stations in when they built them. Unfortunately, our building official did not was replaced, and the new building official didn't hold them accountable to putting those in. So we do not have one electric charging station here in this town. So knowing that senior citizens and a lot of the older crowd, the boomer crowd, are into electric vehicles and Teslas and you name it, where are they going to charge your cars? You know, you're not going to run an extension cord from a 10-story building across the street to a parking lot.
Did they do car wash?
What's that?
They do car wash. Did they put some?
We don't have any here in the
No,
town.
they were supposed to have it on.
Wawa was supposed to
Wawa
put
was
10
supposed to
charging
have it,
stations in,
and
but
I was
didn't.
on the planning and zoning at that time, and I remember it was debated.
Yeah, I read it. Yeah.
No, I was going to say that, thank you. Wawa actually has made application for putting in some electric charging stations, though they're in process of getting permitted for that right now. It's not 10, I think it's 4. Is that
Yeah,
right,
but
Jeff?
the original plan was 10 to put
6.
them in. So,
So,
is we have none here in the town.
and we're fully understanding of that. We will definitely work with the town to work to potentially provide. I'm not committing to that. The only thing you have to understand is that the cost and expense for electric spacing can definitely impact the cost of construction and the operating. And this is already a project that has currently received about $20 million worth of funding, and it's still tight. You know, the cost of construction consistently goes up. And to make sure that the facilities that we're providing are the same level, if not better than market rate, we're trying to always consistently balance those things. But we can definitely work with the town to
I
provide.
understand what you're saying, but we're also making concessions on reducing your parking from 305, where we could make you put a couple more stories on that parking garage. You know, that would accommodate the town's current ordinances. This is to change that. We're trying to negotiate here to make sure we get some coverage for electric vehicles. As I know, people in this town use electric scooters, electric bicycles, and electric vehicles, but we have not one electric charging station in the town of Pembroke Park. Even though when I was mayor, I was dead set we put these charging stations here in the town, and after I was no longer mayor, that was changed and we'd have none. We continue to have none. So
So like we said, we have the provisions to install future charging, so we'll work with the city to.
There are companies out there that will put charging stations and make money off the charging process to finance it. That might be something you should look into.
We will absolutely do that, and we'll work with the town to add, you know, the appropriate measures and everything, you know, that fits the needs of your residents.
It's happening. Electric cars are happening. I mean, even though there might be political bad will about it, but you look at a nation like Norway, 95% of all cars sold last year. 95% of all cars were electric, and 85% were purely electric, and the last 10% were hybrids. It's coming.
Absolutely.
I have another question, because I believe when it was on the planning and zoning that there were some provisions in this development to have a transportation service for elderly people, like a minibus or something. Has that been dropped?
No, there wasn't. It wasn't it was an option that we were exploring with our potential tenant for the commercial space. That is no longer our tenant. We couldn't come out to business terms. So we're now potentially working with Broward County Council for Aging, trying to see, but they are at this point do not provide transportation services for the tenants. However, to note, we are currently less than half a mile from Miami-Dade bus route stops and Broward County bus route stops, which is something that we are cognizant of, and especially in consideration for our parking reduction request.
A half a mile in the sun for an elderly person can be a long way to go. I think we should work on getting a public bus stop there, one way or the other. Just a thought. Well, thank you. Any more questions?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Horowitz?
Item 8.1, Mr. Vice Mayor and Commissioner, if I may, is a second reading ordinance, an ordinance of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, amending Chapter 2, Article 5 of the Town's Code of Ordinances entitled Procurement by specifically amending Section 2-125 of the Town Code entitled Application Exclusions, providing for an amended process to waive certain competitive bidding requirements, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. And Mr. Vice Mayor and Commission, just for the record, as you're aware, this item is presented on second reading. There have been no changes since first reading. All this does is eliminate the resolution requirement with regards to the waiver of bidding procedures and requires a statement as to why such a waiver is in the public interest. Same item you saw on first reading.
Questions and comments? Oh, all right, thank you so much. Old business?
Done.
There's
Done.
none.
Very good. 10.1, audiovisual systems upgrade and production integration. IT Director Pakula, you have some cool names for your stuff.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Mark Pakula, IT Director, Town of Pembroke Park. This is a upgrade from our audiovisual system. Over the years, it's been band-aided. We have a new idea, working with a company. Not only is it going to update it and get a lot more stable from some of the issues we've had, we're also going to introduce some production to it. And what does that mean? It means we're going to change up some of the cameras. It's going to be run by the same company. They're actually going to have a person here and a person in another location with basically a television studio. In the proposed dollar amounts, you'll see I have $37,176. 17,000 and change is for the actual hardware and the installation. The 37 is for the meetings. That's 2 meetings per month, your commission meeting and your workshop. I've also included there another 18,000, not to exceed 73,000, and that's it for additional meetings per month, so that the commission or the town manager might deem they want to have a meeting that also has production. We have that option. We don't have to spend that money, but we would just approve it, and it would be sitting there on the PO. So if you want to have those meetings, we could add more production to other meetings that we normally do. Any questions?
No questions?
How much was spent last time we upgraded the system?
About $15,000.
What's the purpose of doing it again?
The purpose of doing it again is a lot of the systems that we're upgrading. I'll give you an example. We're going to be upgrading for the record. We actually are working today with the town clerk, and the microphones that we have, which are good, according to what we've been told, there's even better microphones. One of the things that the new system is going to do, it's actually going to take what we're having in these meetings, dictate it in real time, basically have a transcription of each meeting and available to the public within an hour after a meeting. So that's one of the things we want to do is upgrade some of the hardware because the technology's changed. Not to mention the $15,000 originally, we wanted to spend about $40,000 to do the system right. We wanted to move it over there. The commission felt they didn't want to spend the money at the time. So once again, we did what we could with what we were given. And we keep having problems. And with the technology moving forward, I think it's money well spent, and I think you'll enjoy. We're going to change some of the camera angles, some of the meetings going. The camera will go on to the commissioners instead of just keeping an open shot, as we like to call it. And I think it'll also help with our branding and social media, because we're also going to have that aspect that's going to help our town.
Where's the money coming from to support this?
That's the question I would ask the finance director, or I don't believe this is a budgeted item. I don't know. So I would talk to Mr. Lynch or Mr. Williamson on that.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll confer further with Mr. Davermann. We do have a little bit of wiggle room. We might be able to achieve this. One of the things that I think these programs allow us to do is it's the public's view of the meetings. Sometimes the parties are not appropriately identified, and I believe we're going to be able to get a chyron, which is a lower third, which allows the public to know who it is that's speaking at the time that they speak. So I'm hopeful that we'll work it out. We certainly won't go forward any further unless we properly identify the funding.
Commissioner Jacobs, most of the wiggle room that the town manager is referencing is actually coming out of the commission's budget. We're extremely under budget in that area as far as expenditures are concerned. So they'll be budgeting under the commission's budget, and we feel that we can sustain that long term with these services.
This doesn't look like it's a short-term contract. It looks like it keeps going and going and going, and it's going to cost us for here till...
No, once the equipment is purchased, that's one time.
Right. But the
production ongoing, that is a service that will be ongoing. You can make a decision, 1-year contract, 2-year contract, renewable, at your options. It depends. One critical thing about this is the clerk will still be trained on this equipment and on this technology, and even though you have oversight of a production manager expert, the clerk will still be trained to run this system independently at limited. not oversight like they would manage it, but they would still have some control over it. So,
If we decided to
yeah.
cut it.
Yeah, when the service, if we decide to cut service, we can still operate the service in-house.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And if the commission so deems it,
Yes.
we could do a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year.
Yeah.
Totally up to you guys how you like. Right now, we're working on a contract for just a 1 year.
Yeah, I
We could evaluate and
think that's the way to go. That way you can evaluate the system, see how it works, and come up with
Do you want
solutions if you need them.
you want to move this to consent?
Okay, great.
All right, let's move that.
As long as they come up with the budget for it,
Right.
and then it's covered.
Move that to consent then.
any other questions? Thank you.
No, thank you. Discussions, and that was 11.1, and that would be Commissioner Jacobs. Would you do the presentation, please?
Yes, I'm moving to raise we have a starting minimum wage here in the town of Pembroke Park. When I was mayor, we moved it to $42,000 a year. Inflation has rapidly come upon our country. It's gotten to where it's getting really unaffordable to live out there. So I'm proposing that we raise the minimum starting salary to the commissioner's salary of $52,000 per year. I spoke with the managers over this. It only affects a handful of employees. We do have enough in the general fund to cover the cost, but most employees are starting around this wage anyway now, but there are a couple employees this would bring them up. So there's I'd say $2,000-3,000 difference for these employees that bring them up, but it sets our starting salary at $52,000 a year for the town of Pembroke Park.
That's basically $25 an hour if you're an hourly employee, which is, I think, is a livable.
Yeah, it's just a livable
wage today. So.
It has to be.
In Alabama, but not so much South Florida.
No, I agree with Commissioner Jacobs here because losing a staff and have to rehire is a very expensive process and slows us down. So I strongly believe that whatever we can do to retain our staff is a positive move in the right direction. So I suggest that we move this to consent.
To add to this, while I was mayor, I also revamped our benefits for the town as we could not afford at the time to bring the wages up to what the other municipalities are, as we are still a small town. I was able to get our benefits on par to where we have some of the best benefits in Broward County for our employees. Now we're at a position where we really need to increase our starting salary to at least 52 to keep bringing in good, solid candidates for these positions. I want to take a moment and thank the manager and assistant manager on the staff that they brought in over the last few months. Your recruiting has been stellar, and I'm very happy to see what you're up to.
Appreciate it.
So consent agenda?
Yeah, consent, please. 11.2 is a financial literacy program. At the NLC, I attended one of these seminars about this, having a financial literacy program for the residents. And so I met with the CEO of the First Florida Credit Union and asked her if they had any programs that could help us educate people. I spoke to David Lynch. David Lynch spoke to, what's her name again? Letterman?
Yes.
Yeah. And they are willing to come with their staff and give volunteer lectures to young people and get them started with a savings account, which could get them to be smarter citizens and hopefully protect them against predatory lending and other financial undoing. So I would like to have an open discussion here on this topic because I think it's important that our citizens are financially as sound as they can be. I know this is a low-income area, but
what age group are you trying to?
We're looking at teenagers, 15 to 18. Is that the time limit?
Yeah, the pilot program, the initial one will be for ninth graders, Commissioner Hodgkins, and then we will expand that further depending on the reception, but we're working with the school system as well. In fact, the goal is to have the program actually take place right here in this room. So, and in fact, our finance director is one of the vocal proponents of this plan, which really was the brainchild of Commissioner Morissette, as he indicated.
Oh, it was a light bulb that turned on at
Yeah.
the NLC, and I was like, yeah, if we can do something for the young people.
Financial literacy is not something that is taught in schools, unfortunately. My 15-year-old is doing corporate taxes this actual week. So I'm all for teaching kids on what financial literacy is, how to open bank accounts, how to balance budgets, how to perform and do your taxes. So I support this. If you can bring in something at no cost to the town,
It will be a no, actually.
and continue to promote it among the community and actually get people involved, I support it.
Well, there will be a minimal cost, but it's already in our budget. And Mr. Town Attorney, we don't need a resolution or a motion or anything on this, do we?
No.
This particular town that was running this financial program, they spent some of their money that was collected through fines to help them get a start. Feel that they had a little bit of money on to their name. I have no clue what we are bringing in fines, and if that's even legal in Florida. I don't know that.
You talk about using
public funds. Some of
part of our budget. You should know what we're bringing in and the different kinds of revenue. But
yeah, I guess I'd want to hear a little more about how the program works and what was being done with the public funds. I mean, certainly from a administrative perspective, there's no legal issue with the program. By consensus, you can give direction to your manager just to move forward, put it on the agenda either way. There's no resolution or motion that's required if the town wants to establish the program. But the expenditure of public funds and the investment of public funds may come with some different conditions. I mean, from an investment standpoint, there are certain limitations on the way public funds can be invested. I don't know if I know enough about the program this evening to determine whether or not they would comply with those requirements.
It would be a symbolic sum, just like saying, yeah, here's not the price of an ice cream, but something.
Eric, let me help you with this. Can we present the program to you from the commission and have you review it?
Happy to. Yeah,
and
that'd be fine. And we're happy to work with the manager.
Yeah, that was the original.
Yeah, we'll work with the manager.
The representatives from the credit union come. They're the only banking institution in our town, and I was surprised to know that they already have a program for
Yeah,
this.
they'll be doing all the teaching and staffing.
Yeah, and they're a non-profit organization.
Yeah, we'll work with the manager.
So I recommend I'd make a recommendation that we give direction to the manager and manager and the town attorney to review and then make a recommendation back to the commission at the appropriate time.
Without objection, we'll take that direction.
Thank you, I agree too, funny enough. All right, since the mayor is not here, we will jump to attorney's comments.
Just one quick item, Mr. Vice Mayor, Commission. I think I mentioned this at your last commission meeting, but on Friday morning from 9 to 1 o'clock, the Broward League of Cities is hosting an ethics training in the city of Plantation. I believe the details should have been circulated. If not, I'd be happy to provide them. But it's an opportunity to get your 4 hours for the year. If it doesn't work on Friday, there'll be plenty of other opportunities. Just wanted to advise the commission. That's all I have, Vice Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Town manager's comments?
Just a couple of things briefly. The 4 life rings have been installed in our community. We have 6 others that we've been provided by Aiden's mom, and that's the title that she goes by. And they'll be installed as well shortly. We're waiting for some interaction with some of the private mobile home parks in order to get those others installed. However, tentatively, after I get approval from Aiden's mom, we're looking at doing a ceremony on February 3rd at 5 p.m., and it's probably going to be over at Linear Park, where we can gather there and celebrate Aiden's life that he sacrificed and the cause that moves forward with his mother to get these installed all around the town. But whether the private parks get them by the 3rd or not, we're still going to proceed with the ceremony on the 3rd at 5 p.m. is the objective.
You look confused, but these are the live frames.
Jacobs and myself will be in DC probably.
Yeah, be in DC. We'll be in DC on the 3rd.
Well, she's flexible, so would you prefer we change the date in order to accommodate you? It's fine.
Please.
Yeah, no problem. Consider it done.
What dates are you in Washington? Is that with the Florida League of Cities?
3rd to the
or-
6th.
3rd to the 9th.
3rd through the 6th.
I'm sorry, the 6th, yeah.
Yeah, if I could still have the floor, Mr. Chairman. The collective bargaining agreement that was referred to by the chief, we're reconvening on February 5, but the process right now is at a very high level of positivity because our biggest hurdle appears to have been overcome at our very last meeting. And so we will reconvene again on February 5, but putting the commission on notice that and the town attorney, we're going to need an executive session somewhere along the way here. And it could easily be just preceding or right after the meeting on February 12, I don't know. But we do not want to put this on a slow track because once we're finished on February 5, we anticipate the union will conduct a vote of their own membership. And we want to make sure that that there's a detailed presentation made in executive session.
Yeah, and just to follow up on the manager's comments, collective bargaining is one of the limited opportunities for the commission to meet in a closed-door session with your manager and the bargaining team. It's a meeting is exempt from the Sunshine Law. It's one of those few opportunities where you can meet limitedly to discuss the collective bargaining process, and the manager who chairs the bargaining process for the town can receive guidance, input, and direction from the commission. There's limited notice requirements. We could certainly have a meeting immediately before the commission meeting on the 5th, or excuse me, on the 12th, or at some point thereafter, but we can coordinate with your professional staff and the commission to find a date that works for everybody to have that closed-door session.
Yeah, I appreciate to participate. Yeah. So you will arrange that.
We will, and keep in mind that a formal consideration and vote on the collective bargaining agreement will occur at a regular commission meeting. This is just an opportunity for the commission to provide input and direction to your manager.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Talk about the lot now?
No.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
I want to find out more.
Okay.
Right, let's move to Commissioner's comments. Commissioner Jacobs?
Yep. I do have a comment. Remember, I brought forward previously on November 14th, 2023, the mayor filed a police report against me, then went to Broward County Court and filed for an injunction or order of protection, whatever you want to call it. It was not granted, but she was granted a hearing. That was November of 2023. The reason I bring this to you is because the can has been kicked down the road again. We were supposed to have court on January 23rd. It is now March 13th, 2025, nearly a year and a half later. You guys stated you felt that this wasn't something to do with the town, but this is actually something very critical to do with the town. As in that statement, she wants me to stay away from Town Hall within 500 feet for her safety. That goes along with the report that was just sent off to the governor's office.
Do you have a restraining order on you?
No, it wasn't granted.
Oh, it was granted by the court?
No, it was not granted. It was given a hearing, so the hearing keeps being continued. It keeps every single month. We have a scheduled court date, and it's continued and continued. It's been continued for almost a year and a half now. So now we have court again in March. But I want you guys to see something. This is overshadowing of everything else that goes in this town. The can gets kicked down the road continuously with absolutely everything to do. These projects keep getting kicked down the road. We went 25 years, or actually 27 years, without being in compliance for the stormwater and sewer master plans. We haven't had a charter review until we did one under my administration since 1957, a full charter review. We hadn't had an employee manual updated since, I believe, 1997. Before that, we have a critical date coming up, which is, I was corrected, I thought it was June 1st. It is June 30th of 2025, that our building department has to be up to date. Our current building official is not doing that, but I was informed that they're still working on bringing another building official in
very soon
to get us current and up to date in a timely manner. So the can keeps getting kicked down the road. We have grants that have been here longer than I have, that were here long before you and I came here, that I've signed extensions on. I did meet with our grant writer last week and found that they've been now one final extension to 2026 to get these grants completed. We have 25th Street project, and then we have John P. Lyons to follow. I believe it's phase 1 with phase 2 to follow. These projects, they've been re-engineered and re-engineered and re-engineered. Again, the can keeps getting kicked down the road. It's like the town waits for a handout for absolutely everything. We have roughly, I believe, 12 to 14 million in the stormwater and sewer funds, but it might be 6 or 7 in each. But I want to point something out to you guys. Lift station 17 over here for Watkins Elementary. That lift station is in a point of disrepair. It's been band-aided, bondoed, duct taped, everything holding that thing together, which that's the major lift station for Watkins Elementary. We're to the point, if that lift station fails, we lose the elementary school. And unfortunately, down here in Broward County, there's no place for them to go. There's 30 plus students per classroom, and the same over at Lake Forest. The schools are completely full. If that happens and we lose that because of that project not being completed or updated, and the town has kicked the can down the road so many times with it, we're putting ourselves in a position of liability where the school board can actually sue the town, at this point. I'm looking at the big picture of what's going on here. Now, that project was going forward at one point, and then it halted when a lien came in. I don't know where it's at right now. We need to find out where we're at. That whole lift station needs replaced. The thing is, for stuff anymore. We have funds. We need to make these repairs. We need to get the town moving forward again. The town's been stagnant for the last 2 years while money keeps being wasted on these investigations against me to remove me. And all I've done was sit there and push the town and get the ship righted and going back in the right direction just for it to be halted again. I got these projects back on track. I got the town back on track. I fought relentlessly to get this place going and back to where it needed to be. And then the projects all came to a halt once again. We're about to lose a lot of money in these grants if we can't get things done. The other part is we are wasting millions of dollars in repairs. The 25th Street and Park, we've been fixing these pipes. They've been collapsing. Hodgkins, how many times have we repaired that since you've been here?
3.
Well, just I believe this year we've had 3 alone.
Last
year we had major breaks where we had feet of raw sewage sitting out in the street. It was disgusting. So, but these projects need to be done. We have the funds to get these projects done. We need to make sure these projects continue to go forward. We put the capital improvement project plan together in a proper order to make it work. Now that we have the master plans complete, we have the CIP that we've spent so much time putting together. We're now in a position we need to make these go forward instead of just sitting around and waiting for something to happen. Our residents can't take that. The day the toilet stops flushing in the town or the water stops flowing or the lights go out, your phone will ring nonstop. People will be at your door, beating on your door. The problem is the business owners still come to my door. They come to my phone. They call me. Even in your district, I'm in your guys' districts, I'm still dealing with business owners, and I send them to you guys. They're not getting anywhere. So I've had the manager going and meeting with these business owners as they come forward with the issues and problems, and trying to take care of them. We need to get the town going forward again. The momentum's here. We just got to give it the push and make it happen instead of sitting around and everything stalled. We're finally have the right people in public works in place, in finance in place, in management in place. There's a couple other areas that we need vast improvement in a quick area, which would be our human resources, but we'll work on that down the road. The town needs this push. We're in such a vulnerable spot right now because nothing's happened in the last 2 years. We've just been halted. So I'm asking this commission to stop the nonsense and get the town moving back forward. I spent 2 years working 50, 60, 70 hours a week trying to get this place back on track. I gave up time with my family. I gave up time with my job just to fix this place. There were so many issues. It continues. I brought you guys a couple pictures. highlighted them, or not highlighted them, laminated them just for keepsakes. You
Dan,
guys-
can you give us a update on what's going on with that particular lift station?
And before we go forward, there was supposed to be like $1 million or so that was invested in that lift station. It shouldn't be in the condition it's in if we put that much money into it 10 years ago. It just, there's no reason. And you know, you've been out there. Rob Clark, we had as our public works director, put a presentation together of all of our lift stations in the town and showed us, sat up here. I wish we still had that presentation. You might have it. If you do, can you send it to the commissioners if you can find that? That presentation showed the condition of every single lift station in the town and where they were at.
I was in the audience. I heard that thing, and I agree with most of what you said here. Actually, I had the same discussion with our town manager regarding that a lot of things have kind of like disappeared in the fog because of the turmoil we had in town hall and all that turnover of staff. So I think it's very important that we find a system where we can make a order that this is going to be done, and then we can follow what's happening.
We have that. It's called the Capital Improvements Project Plan. It's been in place.
Yeah,
it's there. It's all set and ready to move forward. It just needs the push from this commission to keep it going. These projects have been put in an organized structure to where importance from project one all the way, I think there's 26 projects on there. Some that aren't of important.
What am I looking at here?
That's the clerk's office.
That was the clerk's office before he...
That was the clerk's office.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's before Marlin, right? Yeah, I know we were not in compliance, and I think we all are in the same boat with that. When it comes to that, there's been a lot of frustration going on here. There's been a lot of fights where you have also been involved, and everybody wants the town to move forward. That's really all I can say.
Do you know why those fights happen?
Can we get the update, Stan? Can you
go
get
ahead.
An update on that?
So that particular lift station, we are currently working on. That's something that it's kind of ongoing. CAS is currently working on it, and but we do look forward to improving it here in the near future.
If I remember, because I went with Aleem to see all these pump stations, and that one by the school had a backup system. It had an extra pump in it, if I remember correctly.
Right. So currently now it has one pump functioning, and it's holding it down for the moment, if I can say. But we do look forward to reevaluating it, making sure we get two pumps that would be able to kind of grind up the papers, diapers, and all that good stuff that come through it that causes the issues. So we do look forward to reevaluating it. We do have a consultant looking at it. Once we get the proper assessments and design established, we do look forward to going into construction right afterwards.
What's the time frame we're looking at?
I think as far as for design, maybe another month. I'm going to push them, maybe another month. Depending on the pricing, I'm imagining for bidding, maybe a month for that. So for construction, for that to be done, maybe 3-4 months. So in total, about 6 months, probably push it quicker, of course, but about 5 to 6 months for that to be established.
Get a bigger boot, make it go faster.
We'll make it happen.
You and I, we talked about standardization.
Before you need the boots for something else, you know.
We talked about standardization of the pumps. And the last meeting, the engineers talked about upsizing the sewage pipes because we have been built in little stages when we developed as a town, and therefore everything was not compatible. And he was talking about reducing the amount of pump stations necessary if we upgraded the. I mean, that maybe it's wishful thinking, but. Is that something you're looking into, that we could, really modernize the whole system and have fewer pump stations?
So currently now that is not the purview that I have. And with all honesty, that's not what the master plan entailed.
It does show some gravity flows.
Yeah, so the
Right
mas-
over here, right?
Right. So the master plan kind of addressed more of what are the current states, where are things going, and where are we at, right? So, essentially, it'll be better if there were less lift stations and we can kind of combine and stuff like that. But right now, we're kind of looking at more or less what are the issues, what are our I&I issues, and how to address them. But to answer your other point, we are trying to somewhat stick to one type of pump. Of course, that's difficult because our lift stations are kind of different for all of them. So you have different sizes, different stuff. And so we're hoping to do more of the flight or whatnot. But of course, procurement also kind of limits that possibility. But we are working on that right now to see how we can stick to one brand, one type of pump. So therefore, our guys know how to address every pump by themselves.
Yeah, it would also make it easier for us to have a spare.
That too.
Because
Mr.
they're
Chairman?
expensive, those pumps.
Can I be heard on this subject for just a brief moment?
Absolutely.
Okay. Commissioner Jacobs and Commissioner Hodgkins and yourself, we've all talked about this a little bit. We now have in place what I'm calling the Infrastructure A team. What I mean by that is Mr. Chandler Williamson has been here, I guess, about 9 months now. I've been here about 14 weeks. Stan has been here probably about 9 or 10 weeks. And Mr. Davermann has been here on a fairly short-term basis. However, we have assembled on a regular basis the infrastructure list of the things we need to do. We worry about every single day, and we are making sure that our CIP, which will be presented on Saturday, for example, we're having the 3 master plans, one of which we didn't get until, I think, the end of December last year. But now the tools have been placed in our hands, and you will see a long list of infrastructure projects, and then we'll demonstrate to you how we're targeting each one, and we have to target them in order of priority. Obviously, you talk about lift stations and things in which sanitary product can end up on the street. Obviously, these are high priorities, but I guess what I want to say to all of the members of the commission, the Infrastructure A team is in place now. We are attacking it with vigor, and we do think we owe it to our citizens. And Commissioner Jacobs makes a good point. When we have the funds set aside, in combining those with the individuals that can help us get additional funding from Tallahassee and from the federal government. But there's another member of the Infrastructure A team who is now so happy that the rest of the A team is here, and that's Jacinda Carper. And I just had a conversation about these very issues you raised just yesterday, as a matter of fact. And so things are going to happen on much more quickly now. So take heart, I guess is what I'm saying. Take heart. Mr. Williamson is what I would have to say from a management standpoint, sort of I'll call him an infrastructure guru. And I've seen the way that he's approached it in assembling and helping this Infrastructure A team move forward. So some exciting things happening, and it's in place now. So I guess what I'm saying is buckle your seatbelt. We're going to be cleaning up these items that have been sort of put on the back burner for all kinds of different reasons. But there's one other element I want to make sure I addressed, sort of related to the point that you made. On Monday, the Office of Management and Budget from the federal government issued a disbursement freeze for local programs and dollars. And we immediately objected. The Mayor's Association objected. The International City Mayors Association objected. The General Press Corps objected. And
even the governors.
And the governors. And the freeze was lifted today. So we're pressing forward. So government can be bureaucratic, but if you've got the right people in place, you can diminish the impact of slowness of bureaucracy. And we even work with our town attorney so that from a procurement standpoint, we can get things done. And there are a lot of ways to procure on a much more quick basis. But as it relates to the lift stations in particular, don't forget your SCADA system is going to make our ability to deal with issues that we have with all our pump stations much more effective in real time, because we are not going to have to wait till we physically observe a problem. We're going to be getting computer notification of problems on an advanced basis. So good times are ahead, and let's take the remarks of Commissioner Jacobs, Commissioner Hodgkins, and Commissioner Morissette as a strong note of caution that we make sure we protect our constituents by being aggressive as it relates to these infrastructure. We do have some great businesses here. And by the way, the businesses are paying 90% of our revenue in this town. And that's one of the reasons why we pay attention to them as well. And that concludes my remarks, Mr. Chairman.
Do you have any more remarks?
No, I'd just like to say that now that this long-awaited infrastructure plan that we've had and waiting for the everything from the engineers and the everything, we finally got it in our hands. It's a tool that we've been waiting for. We have it now. Let's use it. Let's move forwards and get things done.
I don't think we have Kashim on. She's not on. Okay, so it's my turn then. We're new commissioners here, most of us, and we're learning on the job. And I have been seeing all the inspecting all the pump stations with the previous service director, and I've seen how expensive it is to emergency repair or clean up things. If I remember correctly, we spent $50,000 to clean our main station up, pump station on South Park Road, because people throw wet towels in the system. And that's what Stanley has said. There are pumps out there that can chew that up, so we never get in that situation again. Because this is a very expensive way to run our government by reacting to things that could have been or well designed to handle the situations. And that also comes to our drainage. It's cost the mobile homeowners a lot of money to repair their homes after all these repeated floodings, including myself. This is why I'm here. And now we have 3 men here who wants this done, and I know the ladies want it too. So let's work together with it.
Vice Mayor, Commission, Town Manager, if you indulge me for a moment here.
Yes.
Mr. Merantus has been with us for about 2 months, and a lot of things are running together on his schedule, and he's trying to accomplish a lot since he's been here. I just want to clarify a couple of things. January 6, 2023, CAS gave you a proposal for a design for Lift Station 17. It was January 6, 2023. It's January 29th, 2025 now, for design. That was 2 years ago. We've utilized their pre-proposal of what they wanted to do, design Lift Station 17 to create a legislative agenda for Lift Station 17. So we're going after funding for Lift Station 17 in Tallahassee for this legislative session as well. But I just want to bring to your attention that the design for this was 2 years ago. So I know that we're trying to play catch up with CAS, but I'm assuming that design is completed, not incomplete. Maybe they're doing some follow-up with Mr. Merantus, but it should be complete because it was proposed 2 years ago. But again, have no fear because we are putting Lift Station 17 and 19 on our legislative priority list for funding. Doesn't mean we'll get it. If we don't, the secondary is to pull off funds and move forward if the design is fully complete. But it should be at this point because it's been 2 years that CAS has had this contract. So that's just FYI.
We want to make sure too that we're not overburdening one particular company. If we, like last time, we had a park designer that we didn't even have, who couldn't even come forwards and give us a plan idea because they were so busy doing other stuff. And so we have to make sure that when we give a contract for engineering and stuff like that, that at least we get a company that's going to do it like now, work on it now, and not 6 months from now, and then be 2 years in the making of a simple plan. So it's, so we've had to pull them. I mean, we pulled stuff away from people recently, so, and had to give it to somebody else because
Well, they
you give too much stuff to one person.
They simply refuse to do certain projects for us.
I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments? You good? Announcements, special commission meeting Saturday, February the 1st, 10 a.m. And collective bargaining session Wednesday, February the 5th, and that will be 10 a.m. Regular commission meeting Wednesday, February 12th at 7 p.m. Special magistrate hearing Wednesday, February 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Mr. Vice Mayor, if I may, just to clarify, the magistrate hearings, that's not at 7 p.m. It's in the morning on the Wednesday. Yeah, correct.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
She's doing this to me. I know.
9 a.m.
9 a.m., sorry, correction. And workshop commission meeting Wednesday, February 26th, 2025 at 6 p.m. And we have some calendar events here. We have the food drive Saturday, February 15th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Hope you all would be there and help out. That, can I adjourn?
I'll second.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. All have a good evening.